All right. Hey, welcome back to the Go for CEO channel. This is John the Bomb. Building others means business. You know, every single time I bring someone on, I have a conversation beforehand, and sometimes light bulbs just come up, right? And ideas come up and things to be able to add great content to this channel and for you, the Go for CEO community, to enjoy. And today, I think we're going to go a different little route. There's an industry that has secretly over the last 10 years, in my opinion, I'm going to ask the expert in a second, but I think that has been created over and over and over, and I'm seeing it come up and pop up. I'm building relationships outside of this channel with these types of people, and it's C-suite people that have been at big corporations, have incredible talent, but now they want to try that entrepreneurial spirit and helping small to medium-sized businesses with the talent that they created at that C-suite. So one of the best that I've ever met. I met on Clubhouse, so I'm excited to have her on finally. We built a relationship. She actually lives in the same city that I live, which is so interesting, right? We met on an app to actually live in the same city. So excited to have her on. Jaci Volles, Miss CMO extraordinaire, I'll call you right now. So,
Oh boy. Oh, John, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. And you're absolutely right, right? To meet someone in an app during COVID to find out that you live only a couple miles away from each other. So, yes, this industry. So, I consider myself a maker's marketer and spent decades in the corporate world. And during COVID, discovered I had never heard of fractional work before and was blessed to find this organization, Chief Outsiders, a group of about 130 of us CMOs that have been, part of larger organizations, VP or C-suite level in much larger organizations, now coming together with the opportunity to help smaller to mid-sized companies. And we like to say we're full-time talent in a part-time salary, gives us the opportunity to work with several companies at the same time. I've absolutely loved it.
I love it. I love it. And it's so cool because the smaller businesses that are growing, right? And I typically, in my lending space of my day to day, work with companies that are 2 to 50 million. And, even at 2 and 5 and 10, sometimes it's still a struggle for them to bring in C-suite level experience like yourself that has that cachet, right? And that salary base that they need to be able to afford and all that type of stuff. So to be able to do it this way, they get that talent and for the appropriate time that they need so that they don't have to just be there 40 50 hours a week. So really really cool stuff. So tell us, I guess, a little bit of the journey of the background of what got you to that C suite, and then what made you think of the entrepreneurial side, and what kind of cascaded those scenarios so that our Go for CEO community can really learn from that and see themselves maybe in the future doing what you do.
Oh, John, I've always had, and I have such a deep respect for entrepreneurs. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I've tried a couple things along the way too. That I always ended up back in corporate, but I've certainly always have an entrepreneurial spirit. So my journey has honestly been, I have a deep sense of curiosity. I love to analyze things, and so that keeps me in that innovation space. I've always been in one industry too. Well, I shouldn't say that. Pretty much the majority of my career has been in one industry. And it's that sense of curiosity. I was blessed with having, a VP role at a very young age. And it's been the sense of curiosity, always asking why. Why is the consumer doing what they're doing? Or the end user, it doesn't have to be a consumer, the end user. Why are they doing what they're doing? And ask why 5 times until you get to the root cause so that you understand exactly what message you need to deliver. So the journey has been a couple decades in corporate, maybe even 3 decades in corporate. And, during COVID, discovered that what I had learned, and even though I think that the best discovery was learning that the skills that you've engaged in for all that time, even though I was only in one industry, super transferable to a variety of industries. And so now as a fractional, I'm working with engineers to chemicals to pharmaceuticals to so many things I've not been exposed to before, and it all transfers.
I love it. I mean, when you take those talents and really then create an atmosphere where now you have a little bit more independence, right? A little bit more freedom to be able to kind of service different industries instead of just stuck at one company. think that's part of what's evolved over the last 10 years from what I see of the C-suites going into that, right? So tell us a little bit about how you kind of connected with this 130, 140 other CMOs that are in this group. It's really interesting, and how you develop maybe the parallels of areas that now are helping you be in business.
So here's the beauty of this group. So the interesting thing is back to the app where you and I met is
Mhm.
exactly where I met a fractional CFO
Oh, wow.
who introduced me to Chief Outsiders. He was aware of the group. I had never heard of it, and like you said, this is a new industry. So, in that introduction and in working with Chief Outsiders, here's the beauty of it. Things change in marketing on a daily basis. Oh my goodness, what has AI done for us in the last few months, even, right? So, the beauty of being part of a fractional group is you get the latest and greatest around you all the time. When you're in a corporation, your peers love them, right? But your peers are a CFO, a salesperson, a CEO. There's really, this is going to sound terrible, but there's no one there to really challenge your marketing mind. When you're
Mm.
part of a group of 130 individuals that are all focused on marketing and being exposed to such a broad range of industries, from finance and SaaS and healthcare and consumer products, we tap into each other's knowledge on a daily basis. I have to say, I've learned more in the last 3 years about marketing than I probably did for 2 decades before, because
Wow.
on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, you can tap into each other's knowledge. I just learned about this platform. What are you using? What is that company using? Like, we are on top of the latest and greatest, and I love it because it's a culture of learning. And the company truly believes that we are here and they want to help us do the best job of our lives. And I have to say, you kind of do. You kind of do. So I'm learning every day.
That's interesting. And so yeah, so you're tapping into the knowledge of other peers, right, in your group and different industries. Like you said, you
Yes.
personally are tapped into new industries. So tell us, when you're going through that phase, right, of kind of stepping down as a C-suite person to, developing this strategy, now finding an organization that really kind of helps you to get better at
Right.
what you've done, and finding different ways. So what is one of the things that you did initially and continue to do as far as like a business development side? Help us understand, I mean, from the marketing mind, right, to then also how are you then bringing on the client? Is it through this organization that they set you up, or do you have just an opportunity because there's a tool that they've introduced you to the client and then you develop the relationship?
It's a combination, right? So there's definitely a network of individuals in the organization that are strong lead generators, and so through their networking, they bring potential clients into the company, and then they help find the fit with the right CMO. But then we also do our own networking, right? And the networking that we do, we might find a client that's perfect for us, or we say, you know what, not that I might not be the best fit, but boy, do I know that there's another CMO in the organization. So we do it for each other, and that's part of the benefit is we have others. We look out for each other. We feel like we're living in a world of abundance, and there's something there for all of us.
I
There
love it.
really is.
That's such a true point, right? We kind of skipped over that, but the fact that 130 or so of you are in the same exact field, have this, similar knowledges, but are helping each other grow, and not necessarily looking at each other as competition, but as
Right.
followers that are in the system to be able
Yes.
to help each other. So that component of it, is that a structure, excuse me, that Chief Outsiders has that gave you a framework of it? And then how does it work where, like you just said, you develop maybe an opportunity to talk to a potential business owner that needs your service, but you notice that maybe another CMO happens to have a little bit of that tweak better of knowledge. Is that then become a referral within that network? Is there a revenue share? How does that work?
Oh, yes, absolutely. There's incentives, right? There's incentives to place someone else. And yeah, absolutely, right? There is rev share. And there's also, we might also have a client that we want to bring someone in for a while. So the beauty of it is there is structure, but it's so super flexible. So it's still our business, right? It's
Mhm.
still, you're still, there's no, there's no roadmap that is so rigid that you can't make it your own. Um, and there's a strong belief that we all come into it with our own talents, our own processes, but we do share tools, right? So as we develop processes, and yes, certainly the company has a process. There is the call to the growth gears. The founders wrote a book, The Growth Gears, and it really does help. And we kind of follow that, but in our own style, the way we want to, if it's right. So basically, you need insights to develop a strategy before you can execute, right? And the book will take you all through it. Do I reference the book? Of course I do. But do I have my own tools that I've brought, from other experience? Absolutely. So yes, there's rev share. Yes, there's incentive to help each other out. But the beauty of that is then you the beauty of that is then you are helping each other, but yes, there's something in it for you. There's no doubt. And that's okay.
For
I
sure.
Yeah, that's okay. Because I don't mind if someone else is benefiting off of having found the right place for me and vice versa. Because I
No,
may not have found that person without them.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, and part of abundance, right? To get into the mindset of it is that there's so many businesses out there, 30, 40 million, even at the small and medium-sized business level, that there's great opportunity. And what you do is such an integral part of sales, marketing, right? All that type of
Right.
stuff to be able to help develop a company. So what are some of the strategies that you use, if you can give us a little insight into your mind when you first get to a client or engage with a client and create that opportunity to work together? What are some of the steps that you do, having taken from your past knowledge to now being
Right.
entrepreneurial? What's your system in the sense of how you engage with that client?
Oh, absolutely. This is the fun part, right? Because I love puzzles. I have always loved puzzles and business
Oh,
challenges. Um, and I think throughout my entire career, that the more difficult the challenge through mergers and acquisitions and some of the fun things I've been involved in. I was even part of a company when we went, we brought the company public. Um, so to me, the beginning is super fun, right? It's like you're starting a new job, but you're kind of doing it on a part-time basis and you're doing it with other people at the same time. It's discovery. It's understanding the first 30 days are really understanding the business. You're doing your deep dive, whether it's numbers, the people, understanding the problems, and we look for a couple quick hits. What are a couple quick things that we could be doing? Some low-hanging fruit that can give the business some momentum, give some of their strategy some momentum. And then we dig into it's the strategy process. It's looking at insights, outside insights, what's happening in the industry, what's happening with competitors, where's our white space, where do we fit as a company, and then developing that strategy, and then really putting into the implementation, right? Because do we have the right people? Do we have the right process? Are we positioning ourselves well? It's getting into the strategy and the marketing. So I made that sound like super easy. And we all know business strategy takes time.
mm,
Um, and depending on the level of the business, right? Some businesses are pretty well established. If they're in the $50 million range, they're pretty well established and we're taking processes and refining them. There are other companies, honestly, under $5 million. Oftentimes, we're kind of starting from the beginning in processes. There's a lot that needs to be done. There's a lot, and it's fun, super fun.
yeah. No, that's awesome. It's you're creating you're birthing something, right? And then giving that business an opportunity to kind of see into the light of what other companies that have been well established because of your expertise. And that's the neat part of this industry. It's so cool to hear so many people, as I shared off camera, that the last 2 days I've had actually conversation with CFOs. So to meet CFOs, to meet a CMO as great as you and what you guys do, it's so really cool to had this parallel industry. So tell us, what made me think while you were just sharing a little bit of that is, having been in that 50 million, 100 million, the public company that you guys helped to take public, you probably have a pretty healthy budget. But, when you come down to the small to medium-sized business, maybe the budget's a little bit tighter. So how do you start to formulate what kind of budgets you could work with in that discovery zone of time?
Oh, there's such a range, Such a range. And you're absolutely right, right? That's a little bit of a wake-up call. When you're right, when you've had large budgets, when you've been able to work with agencies and now you're honing in. But here's what we do, and here's what's important. No matter the money, it's really about focus, right? So we look first at the tiers of customers. One of the biggest mistakes that companies make, large and small, or small and large, I should say,
Mhm.
is we jump into, there's a couple of things. We jump into, I have a product to sell, let me sell it, instead of really understanding what the end user really, really needs and what their pain point is. We hear it and we know it, but um, we don't employ the right messaging to really align with the end user. Um, and we do what's called, often referenced, random acts of marketing. Well, I tried YouTube, I tried this, I tried that. You really have to put that strategy together, whether you're spending 10 million, 20 million, or 10,000. Who is my customer? Who is my customer? I have people say, yeah, but my products could be good for everybody. That's great. But with $10,000, we can't reach everybody. So let's segment that audience and find that one target audience that when we spend $10,000, we're going to reach them. So it really, really is about segmenting your audience aligned with what you can spend, aligned with where your competitors are, and let's super focus and be laser focused on what we need to do. And then you got to have a little bit of patience. Test and learn, test and learn. Especially if you have 10,000 to spend, don't say, you know what, I hear Facebook works or I hear YouTube works, so I'm going to spend all my 10,000 there. Probably not a good idea, right? I
Mhm.
will test and learn. I will even start out for some of these small companies, $50 a week on Facebook. Let's find the right audience. Let's spend $100 a week here. Let's spend $100 a week here. And then when we find what triggers, okay, now let's take that then $10,000 and go in. That's what we do.
That's such an interesting concept, right? And especially when you can have a testing mechanism like A/B testing, right? And seeing
Mhm.
which one really kind of hits home. You also said a lot of people sometimes go so broad that they forget the narrow hits the broad, right? When you
Yes,
focus in, especially when you're starting a business or if you're in those infancy stages, and even when you get to seven figures, you're still kind of an infant business, right? You're
you
still
are.
kind of learning and stuff. So part of that marketing is such a huge component with sales and marketing. So tell me, now that I brought that up, I know you're a CMO, but what's your thoughts about sales and marketing? And how do you start to combine that, or dare we say, which one is more important, sales or marketing?
Oh, okay. So I've been blessed, honestly, in my career, John. I've done both, right? So I've had some roles where with companies I've been the VP of sales and marketing. So I love how the two come together. So I'm going to give you they're both important
Mhm.
because I think in sales, you are marketing, you're marketing the company, you're marketing the product. In marketing, you're selling. If you're not selling to the customer, if you're not alongside your sales team selling to the customer, you're selling internally. I think the two work hand in hand. I know that there are so many market positions out there that they think that it always has to be two departments. Um, I and I guess because I've done it for large companies, I've been sales and marketing. I love how the two come together. Is that for everyone? Not necessarily, right? Because the mindsets are a little bit different. Sales is how do I need to make the month? How do I need to make this year?
Mhm.
Marketing, you have to be thinking further out. You have to be taking what's happening now, but thinking of the future and what are the projects you need to initiate now that will be there in the future for the sales team. So if you happen to have that kind of ability to think short term and long term, then I think the two can live together. They both serve a purpose in different ways. You can't always live in the short term. You can't always live in what's going to happen in the next 30 days because at some point you're going to be playing the price game. The only way you can compete is price because you forgot about the long term and you're not ready. You
Mhm.
can't only think long term Believe me, CEOs don't want you to think just long term and not worry about, are we bringing in money this month? It's a balance.
So yin yang, neat,
Yin
neat.
yang.
That leads me down the rabbit hole of then also branding, right? What do you think is when, especially when you're working in this position now, where you're kind of fractionally working for different organizations, different people. Are you finding that branding can be a harder thing to do, or do you bring in someone that maybe has a little bit different viewpoint of branding with what you do to help that company? How does that work for you?
I love branding. Okay, so the branding, so you've got awareness, and then we have, the performance marketing, right? So we start our top of the funnel with awareness, right? Are
Mm.
people aware? And then we bring them into the funnel to the transaction. So different tactics are used for different things. I happen to work for a brand that has pretty strong awareness. So now we're focused more on the performance marketing. I have another company where it's definitely we're spending more time on awareness. Branding, it's not only the graphic side of it, it's the culture side of it. There's so much that goes behind branding. It's what you stand for, it's your values. When we hear branding, most people think of what are the colors, what's the logo, what does it look like? They think of the graphic side of it. Branding to me is a personality. It's the personality and the values of the company. And if you take the time to really define those pillars, then you can develop the right messaging that will resonate. Um, so that's how I feel about branding. Super important.
So let's go to, that's an interesting topic. So is it developed in the back office, meaning like, is this, a whiteboard sessions for weeks and weeks? Are you trying to really kind of develop that so that the pillars are set from a branding perspective, then to lead with marketing? Is that what I'm hearing correctly, or no?
It kind of goes back to that, the insights and the strategy, right? So it goes back to that beginning. Develop the insights, the consumer insights, the competitive
Mm.
insights, understand again, traditional terminology we hear in marketing, the SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and
Mhm.
threats. Create that four box, find your white space. Definitely align it with your strengths, the company's strengths. You're going to find your culture and your values in there, and we develop our pillars from that. So it's through that discovery process, gathering all those insights that I love, looking at even the numbers. I love to look at numbers. CFOs usually like that, but I love to look at numbers, look at the trends. Where have we grown? Where have we not grown? Why are we not growing here? What competitors have come in? Where's our white space? Great. So all of that comes together to define those pillars, and then we make sure internally that everyone's aligned with who we are and what we represent, because it's not just the external message. If it's not strong internally, it's not going to work.
For sure. Yeah, I mean that leads itself to the culture and the mindset of what you're
Mhm.
doing.
Yeah.
As you were sharing that, I was thinking every small business owner, Go for SEO community, every medium-sized business owner, anybody that's watching this channel, that last few minutes really teaches you, right, how you're thinking internally. And we always talk about working on your business, working in your business, right?
Hmm.
How are you investing in your business? Is the time that you're spending, right, just being looked at as like, oh, it's a waste of time. I want to get to go sell, right? When you need to think about how can I invest time first to think about these ideas and the structure and all that stuff. I think many of us miss, right? I mean, you could just be cleaning windows, right? And yeah, you could go out, knock on some doors, clean some windows, make some money. But what if you thought about the way that Jaci thinks about it and marketing it and the branding of it? And then all of a sudden now you have a real business instead of a solopreneur business, right? So really, really cool stuff, Jaci. So tell us, I mean, now that you've kind of been in this, outside of the big C-suite, coming down to, building this business, dealing with different industries, and the way you do it, what are some time management things that you've learned and that you're using now? And then also, how are you starting to, if you're scaling, like, what are you starting to think about scale? Is that something that you'd want to do as far as meaning like bringing on support staff or anything like that else? Or is it more of because you have this such great talent that you're going to keep it at kind of a scaled level where you're the most of the talent?
Your timing is quite interesting on on that. It is an adjustment, right? And there's no doubt, John, there are days that I say, boy, when I was working for that billion-dollar company, life was easier. Um, I have days, but I love being able to work and help smaller companies. A sense of fulfillment because I've always loved mentoring as well in the organizations I've worked with. So I do love that. Scaling, absolutely. Your timing is perfect because that's exactly what I'm looking for now. I do want to be able to bring on more clients. I'm tapped out. I am tapped out. So looking for that next level of support so that I can scale and help more. And that's up to us. So within Chief Outsiders, like I said, there are tools we can use, but it's our business. So if I want to scale, that's up to me to bring someone in so that even I can take some of the things I'm learning and the processes I'm developing for smaller businesses. In order for me to scale that, I definitely need some help to execute those.
I love it. Love it. And right now, do you use like a virtual assistant, or is this kind of all on you at the moment based on the clientele that you have? You're comfortable just doing everything, from A to Z right now with just what you do?
I believe it or not, I use my kids. I have a graphic artist and
Oh, that's awesome.
I have a graphic artist in the house and a programmer in the house. But now I need some admin support. So yes, I do tap into some talents that are around me.
Hey, that's the best ones. You use the resources right around you. So,
Yeah.
look, it's so cool, and you've given us some insight into this industry, this emerging industry over the last 10 years. And anybody that's listening to this, that is a current C-suite, I deal with them from a little bit different perspective in the sense that some of the C-suites that come to me in my day-to-day and the merger acquisition finance side of things is a C-suite person looking to buy a business, and they're getting into a totally different, probably industry, but they feel like their C-suite experience has given them some knowledge to be able to kind of run a business. But this is so cool because you've taken your C-suite experience and created the business, right? And now marketed it to those different areas. So, is there anything else that you would say to this industry, to what you are pioneering in this field, or things that other people could think about from even different areas, maybe other C-suites that you would recommend to them?
So I would say, and this is going to sound like a commercial, but I don't mean it to. I really don't, because my heart is definitely in the place of helping others. But I really recommend that anyone because I've seen small businesses, the under $10 million group that would benefit so much from just a little bit of help. And this really is the beauty of a fractional network, whether it's CMOs, CSOs, CFOs. Tap into that ability, that knowledge from just tap into it for a short period of time. It's worth it, and it will really help give that step change to your business, that step growth. It's worth it. If you're part of a generation where now you have a family business and it's time to probably find that next generation, and that next generation isn't interested, tap into this knowledge to help prepare your company for a sale. Um,
Mhm.
just it's worth it. It's worth it. It might feel like a lot of money in the short term, but what you will get out of it to change your business is definitely worth it. So that's my advice, John.
Love it.
I,
I love
I've I've seen it now. I've seen it and I get it. And we think as entrepreneurs, we think we can do it all. We really do.
it. Yeah.
But
No,
asking for help is okay.
totally gold, right? And especially when you tap into resources and you have organizations like Chief Outsiders or associations that a lot of industries have, and not being afraid to be in that vulnerable stage that you don't know everything.
Right.
You could tap into others, and it's a human thing, right? It's a lot of times we don't realize how giving as humans we are. That people, not everybody, but a large percentage, I think, of human beings want to help others, and then there's a reciprocation that then you help them back when you find opportunities, right? So that's classic networking as well, right? Give to
For
get.
sure.
So So look, we end our interviews, Jackie, and it's been so cool to kind of learn about your industry, learn about how you did it, learn about different strategies that you have, how you discover with clients. But we have a formula which is CEO, so it's client experience, engagement, and operational excellence. So from a high level value proposition and what you brought to this marketplace, what do you think is kind of the high level client experience with you? So 60 seconds or so of just sharing, what your client is experiencing when they do business with you personally.
Oh, what you see is what you get. I'm all in. I'm all in with my clients. I do not, I'm a we person, definitely a we. And when I work with an organization, I immediately engage as this is our company. I'm part of your business. I want to be part of your business. I want to help. I'm all we, never I'm here as a consultant to give you advice. That's just not me. I'm in the business. I take every business seriously like it's my own. And I am all in, which is why I need help because I'm all in. I'm pretty much working 7 days a week. But that is you'll get the benefit of me really feeling like I'm part of your company. I want to be. You get that maker's marketer sense of curiosity. I will challenge and think and dig into the details and find the nuances to help you differentiate your business. No doubt, that's what I'm all about. I love looking for the white space um, and creating those business roadmaps. That's what I love to do, from concept to transaction and anything in between. That's what I love.
It made me think too. My wife is in advertising on the legal side, and they're asking her to come in now 3 days a week after about 4.5 years of just working from home. And it's interesting. So, from this fractional perspective, I would think small business, medium-sized business are thinking, well, one of the challenges could be that I'm not going to have Jackie in our place, like in our culture inside of it. But reality is, you have that mindset of taking me to we, right? So
Oh,
you're going to be able to interact and be a part of that and be a phone call away, a Zoom call away, or even sometimes needing to come into the office, right? Spending a couple hours
absolutely.
with that business that's local, and giving them that face to face. So really cool stuff. So that leads kind of into engagement, right? Engagement is so cool when you think about all the ways that you interact with your vendors, with your fellow peers at Chief Outsiders, with your clients. So tell us a high level value prop from your perspective of how you feel people engage with you.
On a regular basis, if there's anything that came out of COVID is the comfort level with things, this platform right here, being able to speak on your computer in person. And we do that all the time. I have weekly meetings with everyone. I am texting people all the time. Like, it is any way we communicate. And you're absolutely right. If I need to be in the office, I go in. I'll go spend a day in the office. Not a problem at all. um, but it is 24/7. It is not with a client like, okay, I work with you on Tuesdays and I work with this company on Wednesdays. It is anytime.
Interact,
It's
right? Like
it's
mission all
totally, it's
together.
totally, all the meetings are integrated right throughout the week. And that's really important because our businesses don't happen on only a couple days a week.
Yeah.
It's all the time. So we integrate the meetings. And so time management, it's about being present in that moment. So if there's anything I have learned over the last few years is when I'm on the phone with this business, my head is completely present in that business.
Mm.
So it's learning to be completely present where you are at the moment with whomever you're with.
So I don't usually do this, but let me go deeper on this one only because I feel like it could be a learning experience. So is there anything that you do specifically? Like I'll give an example. I can go from an equipment finance conversation to an acquisition finance to a C-suite guy that wants to buy a business, right, which is acquisition, to a line of credit, conversation, and it could be 3 or 4 different areas. So I take a lot of notes, and then what I do, what I practice to do, and maybe this will help you or someone
Mm-hmm.
watching this, is I'll take notes and then I take a picture of it and I put it into a share drive of that client. So it actually later on I'll come back to it and read those notes again. and it kind of solidifies it and breaks down in my brain like, all right, when next time I talk to them, this was the last conversation, or I can
Mhm.
click and boom, right into it. So anything that you do, because that could be, it's hard sometimes is all right, let me channel into this client. What was it that they're specifically doing? I haven't talked to them for 3 days. Is there any clues or tools that you're using to help you in that?
My tool is very similar to that. It's the Remarkable.
Okay.
So I used to have a paper notebook for every client, and inevitably, I was in front of a situation where I had the wrong notebook. So I purchased the Remarkable, which is
Okay.
a digital notebook. And so it allows me to write my notes and I can file it. So I have my entire filing system of notes in front of me all at once. And I can switch back and forth to clients super easily. So that's what I use.
So I just learned something. So what
Right.
I'm doing, thinking I was cool because I was taking a picture of the notes, putting it in a share drive, you actually have a tool that already does it.
Yes.
Is it like a
Yes.
tablet or?
Yes, and the other thing that's great about the Remarkable, you can order it, obviously online, is
Yeah.
that I can plug it into my computer and we can share notes on my laptop. If your handwriting is decent enough, you can also download it and it'll turn it into typed text. Sometimes my handwriting works and it'll create nice typed notes. Other times, my hand's a little bit of a mess, but
Yeah.
that's all right. My handwritten notes are there.
Neat, neat. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've actually been thinking about too, Otter AI as an example, right? When we do these with clients, I don't know if they could do it through just phone, but wow, that's cool. I just learned something.
Yes.
So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for sharing that.
Yeah, try it.
All right, last one is kind of similar. I think these flowed really well today. Is operational excellence, right? You just shared Remarkable, which is such a great tool that
Mhm.
so many people can use that. What are other operational things from the way that you bring in a client to the discovery call to then making you have checkpoints, all those types of things. Any insights that you can give us at a CEO level, operational excellence?
If you're in the space of networking to recruit clients, you have to be really curious. Just be curious. When you're working a networking crowd, spend less time selling yourself and
Mhm.
spend more time being curious. Because if you ask enough questions and genuinely curious, like I love business, so I'll talk to anyone about business anytime, and I love all industries. But be genuinely curious and ask questions because you're going to identify their pain points. Not everything is, there's no business that's perfect. There's no business that everything is going well. So you'll find a pain point. This sounds terrible, doesn't it? But you'll find a pain point, and then if you're the one that can help them, great. If you're not, that's okay. You probably know someone that can, whether it's a CFO or another CMO, a peer. So I would say be genuinely curious. And then in a discovery, then when you get it to the next step, again, I take notes, a lot of notes on trying to understand why. Why is something not working for them? Because when I start engaging in the business, I want to help solve the right problems. So the key word, be genuinely curious. I guess that's two.
Love it. Love it, love it. So awesome, awesome. Well, Jackie, thank you so much for being a part of the Go for CEO community, unveiling a different industry, kind of a different interview today, but certainly landed with CEO and the way that you do it and the complexity and the cool side of how you've created something after being a C-suite person and developing something really neat. So tell us a little bit about how people get a hold of you. What's the best way? Are you using LinkedIn more? Like what are some ways that, at the end of this, somebody's like, man, I really need Jackie. Well, how do I get a hold of her?
Absolutely, LinkedIn anytime. And our website, the Chief Outsiders website, I have a page there in Chief Outsiders. So it's exactly how it sounds, Chief Outsiders. And then, or email me directly at jvolles, VOLLES, at chiefoutsiders.com.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Every 6 to 12 months, we like to bring our guests back, create that engagement, that tribe type of awareness, and do a reconnect. So I'd love to have you back on in 6 to 12 months, find out
Yeah.
what's new in your industry. I know, as you said, AI is making an imprint recently, and we're all seeing kind of some of the things that we all need to pivot and adjust to. So wish you nothing but the best.
Thank
We're
you.
neighbors, so we'll see each other soon.
Yes, yes.
uh,
Well, and I'm working with a startup, so who knows? See, 6 months from now, I might have some great stories.
Oh wow, that's cool. That's cool. Well, my wife spends enough money there. I always tell her every time you load more money to that app, how about you buy a stock or something
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we actually benefit from all the money we're spending there. So, but awesome. Thank you so much, Jackie, and welcome back. Go for CEO community. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. Leave a message. When I post this on LinkedIn, on YouTube, obviously, on Spotify, and all the areas, you'll hear this story that Jackie just shared, and really, sewn in on some of the areas that she shared, because all of it was golden nuggets, but there was some really good stuff that you would take right now, take it back into your business. And if you like Jackie so much, hey, reach out to her, do business with her. This is part of the Go for CEO community and what we're doing. So thank you so much, Jackie. Really appreciate you being on.
Thank you, John, very much.